Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the buffed Lanturn as well as the buffed Gligar in the Open Great League. Yes, Lanturn got buffed. You mostly saw my video earlier already for the Shadow variant of the Steelix with the new move Breaking Swipe. If you didn't, definitely check that one out. It was more of a ranting video about the move changes, to be fair, because as we now see all the energy stats for all the moves, we saw that Lanturn basically got a buff, as well as also Astonish is completely horrible and not usable at all. So this is kind of a little bit awkward now. So yeah, today we're going to take a look a little bit at Lanturn, which is definitely not bad at all. I'm not actually sure if it's directly a buff, but I can say so much, it's definitely not nerfed. Like, it's definitely not worse than before. I would not say that needing one extra fast move for an extra bulky Pokemon, while then doing more damage with the fast move itself, is definitely a nerf here. Like, a lot of people I see, like, also on PvPoke, I think, like, these stats are a little bit lower considered, but I feel like it's just a safer Pokemon to use now even, because you just do so much damage. And there were so many scenarios now where I was just able to farm an opponent down with this Pokemon, which I wouldn't have been able to do before. And there were definitely some matchup which I definitely only won just because of the buff. So, or like, the attack buff in general, of course, I won less energy, but in general, it is just buff Pokemon right now, which is kind of wild. I did not play everything totally perfect, I have to say. I did like a lot of stuff around it, like trying to upload the video that you all saw earlier before and stuff like this. So maybe not the best gameplay ever all the time here. For example, here, most likely could have been playing a little bit better as well, as we're gonna get now kind of walled by this Meganium. If I still had my Tropius in the back, I would have been fine here. Also, my Tropius, I was so lucky to get this one from like only I did like 3 trades or something for Tropius IVs and got this one immediately, which was super happy. So yeah, that's kind of cool. But otherwise, you can of course use Jump Up in the back as well, which is kind of the same. Also with Aerial Ace if you want to, but I guess still the Acrobatics is a little bit better for this Pokemon. But of course, we're also going to see quite a lot of Pokemon here that are not really supposed to be here, especially if they don't run Breaking Swipe on the Sceptile. But yeah, what can I say? Lanturn is definitely now not worse than before. Like, you will see it here in the video as well. This Pokemon is honestly, I feel like it's a little bit buffed, I would say, even compared to before. It's not crazy. It's kind of similar than before, of course. It's only like the fast move that changed, but this team for sure works out really well. Does not really have any crazy weaknesses. And for example, before, like, this team got inspired. Did I actually say that this team was inspired by a team that I saw from the Go Stadium side of, like, they also made, like, the top teams, and there was, like, one from Arrow, I think, where they went for Water Gun variant, because I thought most likely that it got nerfed a little bit further. Now, Spark is definitely better for the Lanturn, and they had the Venusaur in the bag. Here I just changed it up because Spark is still very strong. By the way, look at the Spark damage on this Pelipper now. It is absolutely wild. Like, you can so easily farm them down now. It is, like, before it was actually kind of a pain to farm them down. It was definitely still doable or whatever, but like right now you can just destroy them so easily, get to 2 serves, knock out the opponent, easy peasy, no issue at all here in Lanturn. It's just still going to be one, if not the best Pokemon in the current Great League meta. It is so wild, I don't know. It is just like, let me know in the comment section what you think about the Lanturn right now. Do you think it's a good decision from Niantic to still put it that high up, or did you really wish that it actually got like a little bit more of a nerf with a 6/6 Spark, like 6 energy, 6 damage, which would be the same basically as the Water Gun, just a 2-turn move instead of a 1-turn move? Don't know, honestly, I still wish it would have been a little bit more nerfed. Just having Water Gun as like the main version would have been most likely a little bit better for it, or like for the meta itself. But right now, you're still going to be so much better off using Spark, as it does so much damage. It is so wild. We're going to now see the opponent's what's called the opponent's Lickitung here, which is really cool. Basically right now, like, right now Spark is the same as Water Gun, but you generate 1 more energy. Like, it still does the same amount of damage basically as Water Gun. Before, you mainly went for Water Gun for the fast move damage pressure, but now you're going to have the same fast move damage pressure as Water Gun, plus you generate energy faster than Water Gun. It is like, I still don't understand which worker at Niantic was like, yeah, this is a great idea. We're going to just buff the Lanturn even further, even though it was like everywhere in the meta already. Still don't understand it. But here we're going to take a look at the Gligar real quick. Gligar is going to be our safe swap of this team, going for the dig. A little bit disappointed there. Honestly, I thought that they would knock out the Greninja, and I definitely have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed of Gligar in general. Gligar is rank 5 on PvP don't get me wrong, this Pokemon is very strong, like it is not a bad Pokemon at all, but I thought it would be a little bit better. Like for getting to rank 5 on PvP right now with the actual new ratings, I actually thought that this team would, or like this Pokemon would be a little bit better. This team was really nice though, like can definitely recommend it. But yeah, Gligar itself is a little bit of a tricky one here. I make a mistake. I showed one for the Aerial Ace is the safer play to go for. You win this in the 2-shield scenario if you have 1 or 2 fast moves advantage, I think. So here definitely a mistake by me. So again, I didn't play everything perfectly fine as well. But I feel like Gligar is definitely a strong Pokemon, definitely a strong Pokemon to use in general right now. But it's not as crazy good as I thought it would be. It's definitely going to be somewhere, definitely going to be used quite often, definitely being very, very good in certain limited metas. I think it's going to be the thing where it's really going to shine as like some kind of bulky or flying type Pokemon to use. But maybe the normal variant is a little bit better than the shadow variant, because I feel like it was a lot of times a little bit too squishy. For example, against like grass type moves, you basically get one shot by a frenzy plant, which the normal one wouldn't, which I think is a big thing actually. So like I would definitely recommend you to actually, I don't know if I would recommend you to go for the normal one. Like both are kind of hit or miss depending on like really which matchup you're going to have. But yeah, Gligar was not disappointing. Disappointing would be too much, but I thought it would be a little bit better than it actually was at the end of the day. Which does not really mean anything, to be fair. It's still a very strong Pokemon. I like the buff a lot. Like, I would say it's just balanced. Like, it's balanced. It's basically what it is. Like, it's not an overpowered Pokemon like Carbink or like the Medicham or like the Registeel. It's just a balanced Pokemon that is very cool for the meta, has a nice place in the meta, and that's all. So, good buff in general. I'm totally fine with this one. I think also Aerial Ace having this at 40 energy is very nice as well. Here right now we're gonna get, of course, the worst possible Pokemon to come in against us, which is going to be the Dewgong. This is fairly likely the team that I had Legend with last time around. I think it was a Deoxys defense in the lead. But yeah, we're going to still swap out into our Lanturn. I will be able to let this move go through, which is going to be nice, as it's going to be a drill run. I will be able to overform by quite a bit. I most likely could have overformed by a little bit more even, but I wasn't paying attention too much, I have to say. So I could have played this one better out as well again. But we're going to see now that the opponent going to swap back into their Deoxys. I can swap out into my Tropius. And they're going to have the Umbreon in the back. So yeah, this is the team that I hit Legend with last season. Very strong team to use. Still, I would actually not say it's still that usable, to be fair. I would not really recommend you to go for the Deoxys, Dewgong, Umbreon line anymore. Main reason is just you're going to have a very, very difficult time against Carbink. Carbink beats everything in this team. If you don't have a Steel or a Ground type Pokemon in a team, or like a Water type Pokemon, that is not part ice, where like the rock throw does super effective damage against you, then you're going to be a little bit screwed against Carbink. And I feel like Carbink is going to be one of the most common Pokemon. You don't see me use it here right now because we're early in the season and I don't want to go for the full Carbink abuse there, but I'm most likely going to make a video about how strong Carbink going to be in this meta as well anyway, eventually, because I have a very good one built. But right now, we're going to take a look, of course, at the new buffed Pokemon. And I think it's going to go for a little bit, because I kind of want to try them all out. I want to see some Trailblaze. I actually saw some Scorching Sands already. The animation looks kind of wild. I really like the animation for it. Good job there at Niantic. Very special animation, but you might see it eventually. Here I accidentally pressed on the wrong button and I like had this pop-up coming up there, which I don't know. Like it's some specific thing for Samsung phones or something on the side. You see it always on the side. They actually like this small like bar there, and I sometimes hit on it. I actually don't even know what you can do with it. I think you can just have like something like a quick menu. Maybe I should actually take a look at this and see if it's going to help me eventually, but yeah, it's just annoying for PvP because you cannot tap anymore. But yeah, here we're going to have now the Medicham against us. I actually should do this right now because I don't know the matchup anymore with the Aerial Ace buff. I'm fairly certain now Aerial Ace is actually the best move to go for here. Before, I'm fairly certain that actually Tropius was better off going for the Leaf Blade against the opponent's against the opponent's Medicham here, because Leaf Blade was still more damage per energy, and now I'm fairly certain, yes, it shifted a little bit around. Aerial Ace is now the better move to go for when Aerial Ace is super effective, which is kind of how it's supposed to be, right? So I feel like that's definitely a good change as well. I'm really happy about the Aerial Ace change. I'm really happy about the Sky Attack change. I yeah, okay, like most of the other changes didn't do anything about it. Astonish was pretty bad, as I said before already. It's literally just like Lanturn is very, very strong. Like, you can definitely try out your Lanturn with Spark still. This Pokemon will be able to farm down a lot of Pokemon, going to be in a lot of scenarios where you're going to be able to get some energy lead then. And like, then it doesn't really matter if you're going to need one more fast move to get to the next charge move. If you have a bulky Pokemon with an energy lead because it can farm down something because now it has a ton of fast move pressure as well as generating energy fast, then you don't care about it either. Here my opponent makes actually a big mistake by going for a charge move here. Like, they didn't have to do this, I was not even close. I'm fairly certain I still would have survived with my Lanturn though, so I would have been able to win this game. Most likely at least still. I don't know actually, maybe I was in Stone Age range, but I will be able to win this one here right now. Next opponent, Carbink in the lead. Here, it might be a little bit tricky that you don't get to the Surf as fast, but you're still going to outspeed the opponent, so it's not actually an issue at all. So Surf going to do a decent amount of damage, not going to two-shot them, but I can, again here for example, if we didn't have the buff, I definitely had to go for 3 Surfs in order to knock out the opponent. Here the opponent stops out, which is okay, but if they stayed in there, I would have been able to just go for another Surf and just farm them all the way down, which is something that I wouldn't have been able to do the last season. So, yeah, again, like, the Spark buff basically is kind of wild. I'm actually curious right now. Let me actually check if Luxray actually has some play now, because before, of course, it used Spark, and now Spark does more damage, plus Luxray has the move Psychic Fang. So I'm fairly certain that Luxray is actually not really nerfed right now, which is kind of funny. But yeah, like Luxray is still, of course, not going to be the best Pokemon, but I feel like it's kind of helping this Pokemon out a little bit, especially the Shadow variant, because you're going to do so much more damage with the fast move farm down. So it just, again, like, it wouldn't be as bad, like, the move itself is not broken or anything like this, but it's broken on the Lanturn. And yes, Luxray is actually really strong now in the Ultra League, which is ridiculous because of the Spark buff. It's just like why, man? It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, we're going to see right now the Registeel going to get taken down by our Lanturn, as we're going to still have enough health to survive another charge move. You see already the Spark damage is going to add up quite a bit. We will be able to go for a Surf, and I think I actually still survive this one. I think I can just go for the full farm down here, as yes, the Spark is all it takes to knock out the opponent's Registeel. And again, farm down range is so much easier to get to now, thanks to the nerf of, or like, thanks to the buff basically of the Spark. Here we're going to see a matchup which actually changes quite a bit thanks to the Spark buff. You're going to be able to farm down the Sand Sludge in the two-shade scenario, which is something that you were not able to do before. Here I was actually able to catch a Drill Run, which is nice, and getting it out the Azumarill, which is also going to be okay for us. But yeah, you against Shadow alone Sand Slash, you can just take one move most likely and just farm down in the two-shade scenario after one Surf, which is absolutely wild again. It's a little bit tricky because you're going to not outspeed them anymore. You're going to get there at the same time as they're gonna get to a Drill Run. But I'm very certain that you actually should be able to even win this in the two-shield scenario, which is cool. Here I make a mistake by going for the shield against Play Rough. Honestly, I just didn't pay attention, so that's kind of one thing. But I should have let this move go through. There was no reason to use a shield at all. And now we're going to be in a very tricky matchup, because the opponent going to go back into their Sand Slash. I go for the charge move, but they already have that Drill Run stored. And of course, I don't want to have the Sand Slash against my Flying type Pokemon in the back. So I'm going to go for the Surf here right now, and I'm going to get out the knockout here against the opponent, as they're going to go into their Manibus in back. You might think now, this matchup is so bad. What are you going to do here right now? Look at the damage Spark already did here right now. This was very nice. Already the damage buff going to help us quite a bit with the damage that we just did with Spark. And right now, I'm going to be able to at least go ahead and go for some charge moves. I should go for the Aerial Ace the entire time. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Leaf Blade at the end of it, because I didn't know that Aerial Ace at this point of time at least is going to be the better move. I was just kind of wanting to look here right now how much damage it does, because before it was better to go for the Leaf Blade over the Aerial Ace, even if it was just single resisted. But here, now we're going to see already the opponent still had a lot of energy left, the opponent still had a lot of health left, but Spark buff is just allowing us to farm them all the way down, and there was nothing the opponent can do about it. And we can move into the final game here. What I can say is that this team definitely works out well. We're going to have a lead that's going to be able to beat most Ice-type Pokemon fairly well. We're going to have a Sasop that's going to be very decent against a lot of Pokemon like this Umbreon here as well. And then we're going to have Tropius in the back, which definitely going to benefit quite a bit by the Aerial Ace buff. So what I can say about this team is just that it works out really well, and I can recommend it to you if you want to. Try it out, definitely works out fairly well in the beginning at least. Curious of Niantic going to change some stuff around still, because I feel like you kind of have to do it. But I bet Niantic is not going to do anything, and we're going to have to wait till next season in order to see another Spark nerf for -1 energy, because otherwise it's going to be too broken. So that's great, right? But yeah, we're going to see right now the matchup against the opponent's Umbreon. We got a 2-shield advantage, and we're going to be able to get some extra energy here as we can go for the Surf. And thanks to the Spark damage which was increased, the opponent was now into Surf range, which it wasn't before. And like I can move on basically with this one right now, but honestly, Spark is more for a buff. Like, if I even just take a look at the matchups here right now, like the video right now here, it is definitely more of a buff for the Lanturn. I saw so many scenarios where we just were able to go for the full farm down against the opponent or put them perfectly into Surf range, which just shows how strong this Pokemon now is. It's just... honestly, I just hate it. I just don't want it to be like this, but what can I do? Definitely try to use your Lanturn again if you want to get some wins. As we now see here, our Lanturn going for a Charge Move victory against the opponent that went now for the Steel Wing variant. Sadly didn't get buffed. And I guess I tried to go for an answer for Fairy-type Pokemon with Elite here, as Scrafty doesn't want to beat any Fairy-type Pokemon. But for example here as well, again, we're going to put the opponent into Surf range, just thanks to the extra Spark damage that we have. And this is going to be it for this game today. Hope you enjoyed it. You see already how overpowered Spark Lanturn is. And yeah, that's going to be it. Bye bye.